of Last Minute Laura. I'm Laura, and today, okay, it's the same day as the video from yesterday. I'm wearing the same outfit, sue me. I've got a couple of dye videos I want to get through, and I'm starting a second dye bath today. So for today's dye bath, I am going to be using marigold flowers. I collected a whole lot of bright orange and even some red marigold flowers from my mom's farm because they were about to be thrown out. It's the end of the season and marigolds drop their seeds, but they don't live. The plant doesn't live. So all of the flowers from this season just fall off and end up being nothing. So after my mom collected all of the seeds she would need for next year, and I collected some as well, CJ, I'm busy. I'm busy. No, come here. Ugh. It's okay. Anyway, so after I collected all of the seeds I would need, and my mom collected all of the seeds she would need, I collected all of the rest of the buds. After a frost, they were all going to turn brown and fall off anyway. So I collected all of the blossoms, and I've since let them sit outside for a few days, probably a week now. No, not quite a week. Five days they've sat outside. So any creepy crawlies and critters who wanted to get out have had their chance. I won't feel bad if any bugs end up in this dye bath. But I am going to get a dye bath started. I have probably like a full Walmart shopping bag full of these bright orange blossoms. I'm gonna cover them with rainwater, oh hello, and I'm gonna put them on the stove for probably a couple of hours. Blossoms don't take so long to leach out their color, so probably 2 hours these will be on the stove, but I am going to show you what that is looking like before the water comes up to a simmer. CJ, you are interrupting my video and you're so cute. This is CJ, by the way. I'm trying to film and he's just been meowing in the corner. So I think he just needed a hug. Okay? For those of you who watch the live stream, you already know CJ. He shows up pretty much every morning for a cuddle. By the way, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I put out new videos pretty much every day. I live stream in the mornings on weekdays from 7 a.m. Eastern time until about 8:30 a.m. My dog, my cat, and just tea and community are there. So if that sounds like something you're into, definitely join us. We do have a good time. And then Saturdays and Sundays, I put out edited videos like this. Hi. So if you want more CJ content, definitely subscribe and hit the little bell icon. You'll be notified whenever I put out a new video. And don't forget to like the video. It's helpful for the channel and it's a free way for you to show your support and help Last Minute Laura grow. Okay, enough about me, enough about the cat. I will show you what the big pot of marigolds is looking like, and then I'm going to turn on the heat and walk away. That is an awful lot of flowers. The pot is jam-packed full of them. Da 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 da! Ooh. Finally, it has begun to simmer. This has taken so long because there's so much stuff in this pot. But it's already starting to get yellowish. So I'm going to keep it simmering. It's not bothering anybody, just sitting here. Probably I'll do another hour and then I'll turn the heat off for a little while, let it steep, maybe even overnight. But I will check back in a little while, see how it's looking. Okie dokie, so it is the next day now and my marigolds are looking kind of sad, to be honest. They've been simmering twice now. I've brought it up to a boil, let it simmer for an hour or so, turned it off, brought it up to a boil again, let it simmer for a few hours, and then I turned it off overnight. It's the next day, so it's been sitting all the way overnight. This morning, just before the live stream, I turned the heat back on to a medium low, and it is now steamy. I'm going to turn the heat up just below a boil just to allow the temperature to come up, try and get any more color out of those flowers. And I'm going to let it sit for about an hour while I get the next step on the wool done. So, for this project, I'm going to be dyeing some Briggs and Little wool. I am using their Regal weight wool in the color Washed White. It's kind of a creamy, yellowy white, not quite a stark white, but I think that's going to be okay in the end. So, to prepare the wool for the dye, first I've got to scour it. That basically is a fancy word for washing as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to heat up a big pot of rainwater with a little bit of dish soap in it, and I'm going to add the wool in there and let it sit in there for about an hour so that all of the oils that are on the wool can leach out, and then it'll be ready for the pre-mordant. So I'm going to do that now. And there we go. Save for a little bit of a mess from another dye project, it went okay. I'm going to bring you in for a close-up of those marigolds so you can see what they're looking like right now. And then after about an hour, once all of this has gotten scoured, I'll show you what it's looking like then. Here is the marigold mix. All of the flowers are sinking to the bottom now, but the liquid itself does have a nice sort of golden yellow vibe to it. There's lots of little speckles in the water, and I'm fairly certain that's probably just pollen from the flowers, but the flowers are still yellow, so I want to get them to come up to a boil again and keep it at a simmer just to try and get some of that yellow out. And here is our pot with soap and water and yarn. I didn't put as much water in for this because it just needs to sort of rinse out. Oh, we've got a little flower from the last dye pot. Take that out. Anyway, that'll sit in there simmering for an hour, not quite simmering, just heated enough to get it nice and hot. And I'll come show you how it's looking in about an hour. All right, here we are about an hour later, and I must say, this entire dye kitchen smells glorious. If you've ever smelled a marigold flower, it's like my entire kitchen is just steaming in marigold goodness. I'm going to leave it at the temperature it's at, which is just almost boiling. It's just hot enough that it's keeping the flowers moving, but not quite at a simmer. You can see it's just kind of bubbling up like a cauldron. So I'm going to put the lid back on and leave it in there. And now I'm going to get in here and wash out this yarn and prepare it for mordanting. I think I'm going to mordant with iron because I think I'll get a nice green. Usually when I'm using yellow things and I add iron, it turns green. So I'm going to start by washing out this wool. Alright, I just refilled the pot with some rainwater. That's why there's some planty bits in it. And now I'm going to just pour probably half a cup of my homemade iron water with a chunk of iron. I'm going to pull out that chunk. I'm just going to pour it in there. Get that chunk of iron out. I'm just going to let that heat up while I wash out the yarn. Hopefully some of those iron solids will, I don't know, dissolve out a bit. Alright, I'm going to add this to the iron water pot. There we go. And I'm just going to let that sit in there for another hour. I'm going to put it on a medium-low heat just to heat up. And when that's done, I think it's going to be time to finish up with the marigolds. Alright, so here we are an hour into this simmer sit. And it looks like the iron chunks actually did dissolve, which is interesting. I didn't really think that was going to happen. I was just kind of, I don't know, hoping. Anyway, so now the yarn is like super orange, and I am going to take it out of the pot and give it a really thorough rinse, just with some regular water. And then I'm going to get the marigolds ready to accept the yarn. Marigolds are still looking kind of yellow, which I'm still surprised by that they're not completely giving up color, but the liquid itself is pretty orange. I'm almost sad to put the iron yarn in there. No, I'm not. Okay, I'm going to strain that out first. I'm gonna figure this out. Oh my goodness, it's so yellow. It's so pretty. Maybe I am gonna save some of it so that I don't, so that it doesn't all shift from the iron. I think I'll probably do a shirt. Oh my god, it's so yellow on that white fabric. So I put a cloth on top of a strainer, and I'm using that to just strain out the floury bits. I am gonna add more, but I wanna add the yarn in now because it's about half full. Oops. And we will see what color that all turns. Oh, it's so dark. Okay, so it is gonna be like a dark green, pretty sure. I'm feeling pretty good about that. All right, I'm gonna add that back to the stove and then I'll show you how dark it's looking. Oh my god, look how dark it is. Wow. That is like super deep already, and that's just been in for a second. And I'm gonna leave that in. I'm gonna let it come up to a simmer again. And then I'm gonna leave it in probably most of the day. Oh my goodness, look at how much darker it got. It's gonna be so dark. I don't even know what color it's gonna end up now. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, I'm excited to see what that turns into. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna let it come up to a simmer again, and then I'll turn the heat off and leave it probably overnight, and I'll wash it out tomorrow. What I'm going to do with the rest of this, I think I'm going to add Sadie's hand spun yarn to it. So one of the members of our live stream community sent me this beautiful skein of hand spun yarn. She took it from her sheep and turned it into this beautiful skein of beautiful. It's so soft, and it's hand spun yarn that she made herself. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just add that. I'm gonna untwist it, and it's still got the zip ties on it, which is super. It's ready to be dyed. And I think I'm just gonna add it in and let it sit in with these marigolds. Oh my god, look at that beautiful color. I'm gonna let it just sit in here and just get to know those marigolds. Probably it's gonna need to be stretched out after this. As you can see, it started curling up as soon as it hit the heat. Probably just the heat of the water, but wow, what a beautiful golden yellow. Oh my goodness, that's gonna be so pretty. So I'm gonna let that sit while I let the other one sit, which is like nearly black. It's so dark. I hope it holds on to all of that color, but we'll see. I'll check back in about an hour. Look at that. Look how yellow it's getting. It's so pretty. Okay friends, so it's the afternoon now and I am ready to turn the heat off on this bad boy and leave it overnight. So I'm gonna do that now. I just wanted to show you how pretty Sadie's yarn is looking The wool is so golden and beautiful. I'm so excited to rinse it out and see what the final color is, but I'm not gonna do that until tomorrow. So I turn the heat off and I'm gonna leave that overnight, and in the morning, we'll wash it out. Here is the real wild card. Honestly, I'm so surprised by how dark this got. It's so dark. It looks black, honestly. It looks like it's gonna be a really dark, maybe it's a brown, but it's honestly, like, it's so dark I can't tell right now. Maybe it's a dark green. I think it's the darkest color I've made. I'm gonna have to hold it up against black walnut to see if it's lighter than that. But I've turned the heat off, I'm gonna leave it overnight, and then in the morning we'll come back and rinse it out to see what we're left with. I'm pretty excited about this one. Okay friends, it's the next day now, and the yarn is ready to be washed out. I'm gonna bring you in for a close-up so that you can see how dark the iron mordanted wool is, and then I'll show you how yellow the Sadie's wool is. So you can see that the Marigolds can give you either a really bright yellow or a really dark, almost black. I mean, I don't know if that's what it's gonna be after we wash it out. We'll have to see. But I'll show you that, and then it'll be time to wash it out. So let's do it. Look at how dark this is. I'm so surprised that the iron did that to Marigolds. It's very dark. I'm excited to see what it washes out as. And let's check on Sadie's wool, see what color we're getting there. This is looking awesome. I really think this is a cool color. It's kind of like a burnt gold. I don't know, I like it. I'm gonna rinse it out and see what we're left with. Wow, this color really is beautiful. Thank you so much for sending this to me, Sadie. It's beautiful. And now it's even more beautiful because it's been dyed. I'm gonna hang this one to dry with a weight so that it can stretch the yarn out a little bit. When I got it wet, it seems to have made the twist a little bit out of sorts. So I'm gonna hang it with some weights on it. But there it is. Isn't that a beautiful color? Next shot will be the overhead for this one, where you will see how bright and beautiful it is once it's dry. Holy moly. That's close to black. I don't know if it shows up black on camera, but that is a dark color. All right. That's nuts. I don't think I've made a color this dark before. And it's from yellow flowers. Isn't that crazy? It's a very, very, very rich, dark brown. It's nearly black. We'll see how light it is once it's dry, but I'm gonna go hang it up to dry for the day. Look how dark that is. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Well, next shot will be the overhead, so see you later. Okay, friends, are you ready for the final look at what we got from the beautiful foraged, collected, farm fresh marigolds that we got from my mom's farm? Let's start with the yellow. So we used Sadie's hand-dyed yarn. It was a natural shade, and look at how pretty it turned out. It's like this beautiful, it's like hand-spun gold. It's almost got like a greenish brown undertone, like real gold. Like it looks truly gold. It's not yellow. It's got other stuff going on in it. There's some flecks of darkness in there. It's beautiful. And the yarn is still so soft. I love this. I want to make something special with it. What do you think I should make with this one? I'm taking suggestions for it because I think that this is gonna make something special, something for me. Maybe a headband, maybe a small cowl, something like that. Something I can use this winter because wow, that turned out glorious. But remember that other skein that we dyed with the iron pre-mordant? This one was pre-mordanted with alum. The one that's premordanted with iron, you're not gonna believe this. Check this out. Holy moly, look how dark it is. This is the darkest color I've ever made. It's consistently dark brown all the way through. It's got a bit of a green tone to that brown. It's magic. Honestly, this one really like fired up my world. This reinvigorated my soul as to how bright and dark colors can be. This saturation is perfect. It's perfect all the way through. There's no flecking, there's no speckling, there's no spotting, there's no fading. It is a bright, dark, saturated dark brown. Look at it next to that gold. These are both from the same flower, a bright yellow and orange flower. It gave us this beautiful sort of burnt gold and this dark, dark, deep, dark, chocolatey, olivey. Oh God, I don't even know what I would call it. It's magic. This one I'm definitely keeping, and I'm adding it to a project that's coming up soon because wow, this one I know what I'm gonna do with. It is magic. What do you think? Let me know what you think of these two in the comments down below, and let me know if you're gonna give it a shot. Do you have any flowers in your stash of compost that you could maybe use for a dye project? Do you have any other suggestions as to some stuff I could use for a future dye project? I am always open to hearing from you guys. Anywho, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!